Hey guys, welcome back. Today's going to be a pure machining video, I promise. No dogs, no wife yelling at me or bringing me cookies. Just a little bit of Don. Don's making a new addition to his shop. And I get to go over there and tell him, I told you so. The man doesn't listen to me. I told him he needed a bigger shop. So last year he added on. I was ashamed to go over there. It was so little bitty. So this year, he's really adding on about the same amount of space. But for Don, that's all he needs. Anyway, we're working with my 1943 Rockford Planer. It's one of the last modern planers ever made. It's all hydraulic, no gears, no belts, no pulleys like the antique ones do. This thing, it's a beast. It will peel metal off. I have actually took a 3/4 inch chip with this thing, and don't want to show anybody up, so I don't brag about it very much. Anyway, cast iron from Windy Hill. This is my last rail that I've got to get the back of ready before I can stress relieve it and plane the other sides. That's going on the Monarch 10E rail project. Getting closer, guys. Getting closer. Without further ado, away we go. Y'all remember Jackie Gleason? And away we go. Ah, crap. That is some theatrical stuff. Well, got something else in there that you may like. I screwed up. Not on purpose, but you'll get to see the accident. I show you everything. Stay tuned. Here he goes. Watch out. I'd like everybody to join me in this another I told you so moment. You guys might remember that last year Don decided to add on.
Yeah.
It was last year, wasn't it, Carlos?
I think it went about this time of the year, if I remember right.
This is Carlos. You ever need concrete in West Houston to halfway to Austin, he's the guy. How long have we known each other?
Steve, do we measure that in years or decades?
Well, it'd be 1 decade at least.
At least. Yes, sir.
2 hours ago, this wasn't here. That's good. You know, I told Don when he was trying to figure out how he was going to pour all that concrete over there by himself about you. Don's hard-headed, but he finally listened to me and gave you a call.
He's hard-headed, but he's smart too. Well, he knows where to go.
Don't be saying that around him. We'll never lay it down.
Too far to throw it? Yes, sir. You know, if you're weak, just make your little pile over there. I'll move it later.
Okay.
You gonna let him talk to you like that, Joe?
Yes, sir. I'll let him.
Okay. He signs the checks.
On Friday too.
On Friday especially. Okay, Don.
What?
You haven't said hello.
Hello, guys. What's up?
Don, this is a really special day for me.
What is that?
This is one of those I told you so days.
Oh, man, you know, it's like it's an incremental project. I could only afford so much.
It's not incremental.
I could only afford so much last time. The damn prices of lumber were like crazy.
I told
They have
him
changed.
last
They have
year.
$1,100 for the whole framing thing. That includes the sheathing on the roof and the sheathing on the side. $1,100.
I'm not good with any excuses except that one. You're 100% right.
Oh no! I have to edit that out.
Ah, you see that? You see people? I got an independent appraisal here from this guy.
Because I don't agree
He
with
lies.
postponing it. No, not today.
Not today.
Today.
What are you doing here, Don? I told you your shop was too little last time. So you go and you build this last edition,
This is my garage.
and then, oh yeah, I've heard that before.
That's shop. This
I've
is
heard
garage.
that before. That was your garage.
Well, if you quit bringing me places to buy new stuff, then I would have enough room.
Now it's my
Let's
fault.
let's get them other dowels in there, number 3 dowels, bro.
Now it's my fault.
Steve's just jealous because his wife won't let him add on.
I
I
don't
think if
know.
I send her on a trip and you show up,
We could do this. We can knock it out for you.
yeah, okay.
His wife did a pretty good job this last time, though, when she had us build that parking spot for that bus.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
she did good then. I can't talk bad about it at all.
You're just trying to suck up. I know about you. You lie and you suck up.
Well, not just that. See, if I get on the good side of your wife, we're gonna get some work.
There you go.
Damn.
There
Yeah.
you go.
If I get on
That's a
Steve's
smart
good
man.
side, we ain't gonna get nothing.
That's a smart man right
But
there.
if we get on Steve's wife's good side, she's gonna give me something to do. She's gonna put me to work. That's
What
just
the heck are you doing here, Don?
I'm not just watching everybody work now. That's what I'm doing.
But what are they doing, Don?
Just adding on. That's all.
What is it?
It's gonna be my way I put my motorcycle, my lawnmower, and all kind of garage stuff.
Yeah, famous
clear
last
up my-
words.
To clear up my shop.
Famous last words.
Yeah, well, I got more room. We can add on some more if we need to.
Just rub it in.
Just have to get a couple
Just-
loads of dirt next time.
If you decide to go
Don's making a new
further, I
shop
say just go
extension.
ahead and hit it with a couple of loads.
Tie into that building.
Because you're gonna add on. I know you're saying this is it, but it's not it. It never is.
I really like to build. I mean, it's in me to build.
Like my little shop, 60 by 40.
Why don't you
And
take up doll houses?
when I rolled up my
Doll houses
my
would be
doors
good
to
for
my
you to
shop, it's
build.
like, man, look at all this.
About your
double.
size, I mean,
No.
you need a manly shop, not a girly shop.
Right there.
I gotta
Girly
go to
shops
work.
are
I
usually
can't
big
watch this anymore.
You better go to work, get some money. I'm not gonna get a loan from you to just build this, you know? Go
Well,
to work.
that'd
Go
be
to
the
work.
right
Go
place.
to
There's
work.
no loan for you. You're going to adopt me, remember? All right, I'm gonna let them work. I'm going to.
Don't you wish they made longer strings on the aprons so you could not have to be a contortionist? Back on these rails. Now, reading from the comments, it's apparent to me that a lot of people don't watch the whole thing because I've answered almost every question there was. There's one that I didn't answer, and that one's from Brian Block, and it was a good question. He said, I'm surprised you don't put them both on here and do it at the same time. And I had thought about doing that a lot, save a little bit of setup. But because these are rough castings, none of them are the same. And by the time I get them both exactly right and the best way to do it, to get this reference surface, I'm not saving any time. And I need this setup, so I'd have to shift it over one set of slots because this is resting in a slot to help keep it aligned. So I'd have to move all this over and put a whole new set here. And by the time I traverse the machine from one rail to the other, it's just not worth it. I can pop one of these bolts loose and slide the other one in place. Same for the next setups. There's just nothing here that really lets me hold it down to the table the way I need to. One person said something about the shims I used. Remember, this is a really rough casting. Nothing straight on it whatsoever. And I'm trying to, first off, get a reference surface here. So then this will slide over and touch the bottom as I start doing the top surfaces. So I've got to get a reference surface off this side right here, 90 degrees to this one, and then we'll plane the side that's got the taper in it. So this isn't like putting something on a mill where you just clamp it down and machine it. This is a different kind of force. This is a linear force, a brute force method. That cutting tool doesn't rotate, thus taking a lot less force going through. The force of the table and that cutting bit are extreme. So you've got to hold it, but you got to hold it very lightly or it'll go flying through the wall over there. If you clamp it down to the table without like putting these shims in it, I'm bowling the material, I'll plane it off flat, then I'll let it up and it'll be bowed. So this is held very lightly. I'm getting a reference surface here. I'm fixing to turn it over and get this side over here after I do the other rail. But I'll show you a little bit of the other rail, then we'll go on. How about we just go on now? Well, with that one we're not. Where's my good one? There it is. See how easy this was? I mean, it wasn't hardly down at all. And now I just pick it up. Now I've got a flat surface here. Pretty good. I don't really care if it's super flat at this point because this is going to go back in the stress relieving oven. It's another point people ask me all the time, well, you've already put it in the stress relieving oven once. All the stress should be gone. Well, no. You never really relieve all the stress in a piece of metal. In fact, the Navy study, which I'll try to take a picture of it, it looks and tests stress relieving methods in percentage of stress relieved. So there's always some residual stress in it. And I've found that when you're trying to hold a thousandth of an inch in planing before you hand scrape something, you've got to get that stress out of there over 4 foot. It's just, you've got to do it. And I've found that only by relieving it first, rough planing it, stress relieving it again, and then finish planing it, can I hold 1,000 over 4 inches or 4 feet. So I'm happy with this one. Let's get this other one set up and we'll go on. And it's going to be probably totally different, need different shims. For those of you who don't know, this is the pattern that I took over to Windy Hill Foundry and made these from. These are cast by Clark over there. It's a kind of fun process. This pattern sucked, by the way. It was nowhere near smooth enough, and I even put body filler on and smoothed it off, to draw out from the sand easily. He had a lot of trouble, but go look at the video, maybe over here. I never can figure it out. Here's the second one. It's a little thicker than this is, so I'm going to have to move that off. Got holes in the end over here for that to fit in. tighten this down a little bit, then take a dead blow hammer and knock up against the side of it, and then finish tightening it. Okay. Get you out of the way. Now once again, I've got it in the rail. It's sitting in the slot of this bed. But the rail is also warped from the casting of it. So I need to find a happy medium between this end and this end so that I don't pull it down to the bed too hard and I just plane it as even as I can. So that's where this baby comes in. Surface gauge. Down to this end. Now what I need to do is come off of the casting itself, not these risers. Barely touching right there. And pretty high up here. Let's see what happens when I tighten it down up here. Not much. The center and everything seems to be in good shape. I'm going to leave it where it is, right there. Tighten it down just a little bit. We'll go from there. I'm lucky in that the thickness of these rails in their critical dimensions are not critical. These are going to fit into a bracket on the side of the 10EE that's U-shaped. And I'll have an adjustment screw for height underneath and then one for left and right on each side. That way I can raise it up and down and measure off the top V surface. It's always a phone call. Seems like they're all spam calls too. Okay, we're down on the bed. I'm happy with the alignment here. I think we'll be okay. Now, the next thing I need to do is put a little chamfer on the end of this. The reason is cast iron is sort of a, think of a compacted beach sand consistency, granular. And when it hits this edge, it usually chips out some. So if you put a slight chamfer on it, it greatly reduces that. I usually use a grinder, but it's in the other room now. Just putting enough force to hold it. Don't need to shim in this one. Now, this is one of the most dangerous parts of the whole planing operation. Getting your first setup so you know how deep you're going. And I know that end's just a hair bit thicker than this end. So I've raised it up here. I'm going to move it over to the side, and then I'm going to run it down and see where we're touching anywhere. Because where we cut this off may be higher than these. Little musical interlude there. So there's a 1/4 inch difference in all this. So I got to get it down to one level. So I'll do it by coming over to the side. Looks to be the highest point just by looking at it by my eye. Moved it a long way. You remember back I said this was the most dangerous part. You hit a high spot on there, it's a different force level than everything else. You see what can happen. This clamp here, all it does is keep it down to the bed lightly. The actual clamps that do anything are at the very front. Can you see them? No. This right here, this is a stop clamp I installed. Keep everything from just going absolutely crazy. It did keep it from going off the bed, but it also released some of the tension and kept that bit from breaking. Kind of a catch-22 situation. One of the things you got to do with this setup, is keep things from moving this way. So So this time I'm going to put a little force on this. And that way, there's no way for it to go. Now this one I had all the way onto the bed, holding it down. This one's light down here, so I'm not bending it. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Like I said, I'll show you the bad with the good. That wasn't so bad. Now remember, I need to adjust it this way, make sure it's okay. I start cutting and things just go haywire. Still good. Listen to the sound that the bit's making. Skating over that hard layer in some spots. I haven't got down past the hard layer hardly anywhere. As soon as I get through all this, it'll be better. A bit needs touching up. It won't do any good. I'll get all through this hard layer. It'll be that way in 3 strokes. Hear how the difference? I'm getting underneath that hard layer in most places along this back side. When the bit comes out of the metal, it kind of skips along until it gets a bite. And you use this sort of a slightly positive to neutral. Doesn't have as much downforce. want to show you something. I've now set it down to 130 thousandths from the top where I started. It looks terrible, but that's because it's doing a number on that bit. But one of the things I noticed, this is touching here, and it's touching here, and it's touching here, but from here to here, it's floating in the air. And right now, every time this bit goes over here, it's pushing it down. And then I can see it sort of like on a railroad track. You know, when the train goes over, the rail goes down. Same thing's happening here. I'm going to take a few passes and show you what I'm talking about. Watch the rail itself as the bit goes by right in this area. Now I've got this tied and that tied. I can't put any more pressure, but as you can see, I can get that shim under there till here. But it's right in here. Well, like Donna stole my hammer. Same over here. And this isn't a defect in the casting, it's just the way it comes, you know. Castings aren't straight. Like I said, it's not critical at this point. Just trying to get a reference surface to start with. I'm going to go easy on this one. Should be the final roughing pass. Almost. Well, it's time for a bit change, or sharpening actually. As you might be able to see, I don't know how well, this bit's kind of taking a beating. So I'm going to go freshen it up. Now I'll show you how to put it back on. All right, there's it's honed after I got through. What I do is I run the tool holder back over the workpiece, lift it up, and insert the tool correct way, hopefully. And let it come back down there. Then I'm going to tighten it. I'm going to emphasize this only gets me close to the depth of cut. I still don't know if it's perfectly right, but if you can see, got that laying almost flat across this. And that leaves the fewest humps in it that we've ever gotten. It's the only way I can get it just perfect. Right. Move your tool off your work, start it up, and then start taking very cautious cuts. Another thing I want to show you, do you remember how I made that chamfer only 2 passes ago? Well, it's almost all gone over here. So I'm going to renew that one, and on the other end also. Get it down here where you can see, even though I was on there, I'm not even touching it. About 20 thousandths off of it. So just now I'm touching. Remember, that's the rough sides on those 2 sides of the casting. That's why it's looking like that. want you to see how much smoother that cut is just by touching up that bit. This is the rough cut. Put it on the grinder, and then I honed it a little bit after I ground it again. But the other important thing is this is where that shim had to go. If you'll notice, I'm taking a deeper cut here from here to here, and nothing over here, and then down here I'm touching. Because I'm through that hard layer and I've got a sharper bit, I'm now forcing that casting to move less. So the casting is staying up and letting me cut off that ridge. That's all I got to say about the matter. Got some bad chunks over here, but all this is going to be planed off too and get straight. But now I have two of them that look like this, and I'll now turn them over and support them and get a nice 90-degree angle over here on this side and make them look nice.